Hello, hello, hello. This is Alesha Brown, the Joy Guru. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Sunday. Um, Actually, before I even start, I just wanted to say I want to give a special thanks to Cheryl Williamson, as well as her team and everyone that made this opportunity available. We have had some technical challenges this morning, but the message is the message. So I see that someone obviously can hear me, so we're going to go ahead and move forward because there's some things I want to share with you today that are so important. This is a life-changing message, but it is a life-saving message. So I warn you in advance to go ahead, grab a pen and paper, get you a beverage or a snack or what have you. Make sure if you know some people in this group, you've already tagged them and say, hey, come live with me. Because we're going to go over some things that's really going to change your life today. And more importantly, change the life of those that God has connected you to and part of your purpose. But I want to say first that one of the things that's so special to me is to be able to share this message on a Sunday. Because growing up, Sunday was very special to us. For me, it still is, because it was one of those days we could have corporate worship. And that is very significant in my life as a believer. But if Sunday does not share that significance for you, the fact that you're alive today and you're breathing means you have unlimited opportunities. So this day is special and this day is sacred. So we all, just for that, forget the pandemic, forget the challenges in your life, forget the things that are going on. That is enough for us to rejoice on this Sunday. But I do want to encourage you for this message that whatever you are going through, whatever challenges may be in your way, things going on, it's not meant to destroy you. It's not going to take you out. It's not going to hinder the purpose that God has for your life. And it's not even going to be a deterrent into what you're supposed to do at such a time as this. Now, you have to wrap your mind up over that. You have to receive that. Nothing can be designed in this world that can stop the purpose in your life. You are the only person that can stop the purpose of your life. So let's just go ahead and get that out of the way as a disclaimer, because that is going to shape the trajectory of what you and I do in such a time as this. And I come to you today to share a revelation that the Holy Spirit shared with me while I was transitioning from the life of a child abuse person. I went through child abuse and I was coming into adulthood, trying to do all the things that you're told to do, but I was lost. I was struggling. I had came over a season of suicidal thoughts, depression, and all of those things. And now trying to step in adulthood where you think you know everything, but you really don't. I'm trying to just get my breath back. So these are the words the Holy Spirit gave to me. It's not the hand you were dealt, but it's the way you play your hand. Again, it's not the hand that you were dealt that determines your success, but it's the way you play your hand. Now, the world will have you to believe that you're either born to be successful or you're just born to fail. We'll look at people that were born into opulence and wealth, and their parents had all the degrees and owned businesses. So we just imagine that, they're geared for success. I mean, they have the best people around them. They have parents that are ideal, that can teach them how to do things. We reason in our mind. This world would reason in your mind. Of course, they're going to be successful. And then you have other people born into poverty, born into horrendous situations. And you would look at them as you see different challenges come in their life. It seems like they can't get a break. People would say, well, they really weren't born or positioned to be successful. You may know some of these people. You may be one of them. But what I want to tell you is that the truth of the matter, all of us were born to win. All of us, you and I, all of us were born to be successful. And that's not just some good thing I want to tell you to tickle your ears. Let me give you the evidence. Now, scientifically, when we think about sperm and how the sperm fertilizes that egg to create an embryo, there's a whole process, and I'm not going to go deep into this, but there's a whole process where that one sperm has to fight to even make it to the egg. And once he makes it to the egg, there's a process for the egg to be fertilized. Much travail goes on in just this initial stage. But if that one sperm ever makes it and connects with that egg and fertilization occurs, it is a miracle. So from the point of conception, you were a miracle. And I want to give you a moment there. Did you ever think about that? Did you ever think about that natural process that occurs? That just from conception, if we stopped right there, you were a miracle. But it doesn't stop there. Go through the different months of birth. And I don't care if you were born prematurely. I don't care if you were born with some type of defect or disease. The fact that you made it through the birth canal, it's another miracle. A lot of babies can be conceived, but they don't make it through the birthing process. So when you entered this world with your breath, I don't care how you entered it, it was a miracle. And then we go forward through life. And I said when we started, if you're breathing today, and you're breathing because you're listening to me, you're hearing me, you're watching me, it's a miracle. A lot of things could have took you out. Some of you are like myself, have been through what should have been a near fatal car accident, but I didn't die. Been through different challenges, been through different struggles. Some of you have been through depression and been through things where you've considered taking yourself out of this world. And I was there when I was a child. So I can tell you about the different things I've been through where my life was in peril, but I'm still here. So we're walking, breathing miracles. So why would we ever think that we were not born to be successful, or there are things that would prevent us from succeeding? We don't need that mindset. So if those are things you're thinking, if those are insecurities you have in any area, rid yourself of them right now. But one thing, I want to get back to that message, that theme, is that life is like a hand of cards. Now, I'm not a card player, but I do have common sense. And when you're dealt a hand of cards, here's how it works, and this is so true of life. You can't give your hand back to the dealer and say, could you just give me something else? Or you can't look at another player across the table and say, hey, can I change it with you? No. The hand of cards you were given when you entered this world, that's what you have. You didn't have choices of who your parents were. You didn't have a choice of what you were born into. You didn't have a choice of how much money your environment, the people that raised you, how much money they had. No one asked you anything. You just came in this world, and whatever the situation was, that is your hand of cards. But let me tell you something. What you have full control over is how you play that hand. And literally, you can have what someone perceives to be a bad hand, and you can bluff your way and do what you need to do and win tremendously. And you can start out with a quote-unquote good hand and lose every time. We see it. We see in the life of those who are extremely successful, have all the money and resources and connections, and their children fall by the wayside. So if it was just something about because I'm born into this or these are my parents, if that was enough to get you by and determine your success, we wouldn't see those outcomes. And we all know, we have people all in this group born of nothing, had nothing, have literally struggled for everything they have and have complete, total, record-shattering success. It's not the hand of cards you were dealt when you came in this world. It's how you choose to play your hand. And you are 100% in control of that under the grace and anointing of God. So let's get to that. What I want to share with you, and we are going to go through this succinctly. It's not going to take long. There are 4 things, beloved, that you're going to need to win and succeed regardless of the hand of cards you were dealt. 4 things you need. Number 1 being acceptance. 2, strategy and vision. 3, action. And 4, to repeat. I'm going to repeat those again. 4 things you need in order to win and succeed regardless of what hand of cards you are dealt. Number 1, acceptance. Number 2, strategy and vision. Number 3, action. And the last one is to repeat. Let's talk about acceptance, okay? You need to accept what is true and unchangeable. Now, in the world, they'll say, well, you know, what's true is I was born into poverty. What's true is I don't have this, I don't have that. No, I'm not even going to go there with you. I'm saying the part that's true and unchangeable. What's true in my life? I can change my weight. I've lost weight. I've gained weight. I can change my hair color. I can change my eyes if I put on contacts. But at the end of the day, I am born and genetically, I am a black woman. That I can't change. I can lighten it if I want to. I can put all type of makeup on. But, when they go take my blood work, genetically, I am an African American woman. That's not going to change. I must accept that. I can't turn that hand of cards in and say I want something else. I want to be a tall white woman. I may want it, but guess what? I can't do anything about that. That's not how the game played. So what I need to do is accept what is true and what is unchangeable. It's just it. And once you have that acceptance, you can move forward. You don't have to keep going through this same scenario, poor me syndrome, and whining and, woe is me. Some people stay stuck there. And I see it every day in my profession. I have seen it with other victims and survivors. They're stuck on victim mode. And I'm not sitting here trying to ridicule people that way. I'm just trying to make the point that everything goes down to your perception. What do you see? Because when you have your sight, when you see certain things, you can change the trajectory, and then you can be intentional about those things that are purpose for you and those things you desire. So acceptance is number one. Number two is strategy and vision. We know that cliche is even a song they wrote about it. You have to see it before you see it, or you never will see it. Your vision is everything. If you see yourself losing, then you're going to lose. If you see yourself winning, then you're going to win. This is not, some tricky thing. There's no game to this. It's just what it is. That's why you can have a terrible hand in the card game and still win, and someone else had a winning hand and still lose because of body language, because of perception. If you looked at that person, can discern that they're seeing, they're feeling a little, I don't know about my hand. You can pick up on body language what the hand is. And then you know how to bluff and change your body language and face to actually win over them and make them feel insecure. What do you see? And then understand that whatever you see, whatever is that thing that's burning down in your spirit and you can't shake it, don't expect everybody else to see it. God gave it to you. It's your purpose. Why are you looking for everybody else to see and be in agreement? I want to take you to two examples of that. Look at Noah. Bible scholars will estimate that Noah spent anywhere from 80 to 120 years building that ark. Now, if you think about it, he's got this big sea vessel he's working on day after day, year after year, a sea vessel that he's building on dry lands. And we got family and friends. We got people. Sometimes if you're very charismatic and can say a thing, they believe you. They want to support you. And then time go by, they don't see anything. They don't see results. And more time go by and they don't see anything. And more time, even your most staunch supporters start dropping off by the wayside. But what do you see? What did God tell you to do? And I imagine, now I never talked to Noah, but I imagine that's what kept Noah going, because he received the word from the Lord and he knew what he had to do. It was God's vision. God had made that thing crystal clear to him. God gave him instructions. So he was going to build this ark. He had to complete the work, the great work that was given to him. And in case you're not a fan of Noah, can we talk about Nehemiah just for a few seconds? Because you know what? Nehemiah said, and when his friends came and when different people ridiculed him, Nehemiah said, I am doing a great work. I cannot come down off this wall. I'm doing a great work. I cannot come down off this wall. See, Nehemiah understood that wall represented his assignment. It was his purpose. He couldn't stop until he completed it. Because God had told him something. You didn't have to agree with him. You could laugh at him. But all he knew is God had assigned him a great work and he had to stay with it till completion. Some of us have the problem. We can't complete nothing. We're ready to run when it's a great idea, or we think it is. But when we have to stay in the trenches and do the work, after a while, and I don't see anything, and I thought we were going to be doing it this way, and I thought this was going to manifest, we start getting shaky. We need to be intentional at this time. God's given us all a purpose. You cannot be born into this world and don't have a divine purpose. God has fashioned us so uniquely that no one can do it the way you do it. There's other people doing different things that might look like what you're thinking about, but no one's going to be able to reach your audience the way you are supposed to. Celebrity, influencer, whoever. God has assigned people to every last one of us. So stop looking at everyone else. Be clear on what God told you, and then be dedicated to his work, strategy, and vision. You can't come up with the winning strategy if you don't have a clear vision. You need to be clear, because first you need to accept what is true and unchangeable. Then you need to have a vision for what is your purpose. And then you need to come up with a strategy to do that. No more sitting on your purpose because you have all these excuses and it's not perfect and the plan isn't. And can I just, for a moment, before we move on to 3, can I just go ahead and talk about this right here? Some of the problem is some of us have the best strategy. We have the best coaches. We bought all the programs. We have done A through Z. We have a plan, not only A, B, and C. We have a plan all the way to X, Y, Z. And we have 25 other options in case the first 5 don't work. Let me tell you this. Imperfectly done will outbeat perfect in action every time. Imperfectly done or imperfect action will beat perfectly not done or perfect inactivity every time. It's not just having the vision. You have to put feet to your vision. Some of us are sitting way too long when God told you something to do and you still sitting here making a plan. It can't even have life because you're killing it before it can even launch because you're just planning too much. It doesn't take all that. Which leads me to our 3rd thing, action. I've said it, so we will be really brief on that. There are times that God will not even move until you do. Yes, he precedes us. Yes, he guides us with his own eye. But he wants you to do something too. All of us have the power to create wealth, but if you don't do anything, just because you have the power and access, you won't have it because you're not doing anything. You go through the Bible, there's plenty of testimonies about that, so I won't belabor that here. Just ask yourself, are you blocking God's plans and blessings for your life because you won't trust him and just go? You know, some of us, we need to see steps 1 through 25 before we'll even take step 1. And what I want you to know that God is a God that often he's going to require you to take that first step when you only see 1 and 2. And sometimes, beloved, he's going to require you to take that first step when you don't see anything. Now trust him. Now step out on faith. Know that you know that you know when no one else knows. Know that you know what he's told you to do, and then do it. Don't sit here too long on what he told you to do. Put feet to that vision. Because, you know, the one thing about this platform that I love and why I'm honored to speak on it today is if you don't know anything about Cheryl Williamson, you know 2 things. 1, she's a woman of God. And number 2, she is rooted and grounded in affirmations. Because here's the secret. Too many of us are waiting for everybody and everything else to affirm us when really God already did it. So let God affirm you, which he's already done. Affirm yourself and then get to action. Stop trying to explain to everybody else. Try to make convincing everyone else. Trying to rally up support from everyone else. If God himself gave it to you and God himself assigned it to you and he's guiding you with his eye, then you need to just go and do the thing. And when things don't work out the way you thought they were, or your plan isn't working the way you thought it was, ask him. He owns everything. He knows everything. He knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. That's who you need to consult. I'm not saying you won't have business coaches. I'm not saying you won't have strategists. You know, it takes all of us. That's why we're in this collaborative group, because it takes all of us to come together to make great things happen. But there are times in it where it's just you and him. You got to go. Because at the end of the night, it's you that has to lay down and rest with the things you've done and be accountable for them. The team's not accountable for them. They're just accountable to what you assigned them to do. You're the leader. You're the visionary. Everything comes back to you. What did he tell you? And then from what he told you, what are you doing and what are you instructing other people to do? They can't get their marching orders until you receive yours and you do them. So remember that. Let God affirm you. He already has. And then affirm yourself. And last but not least, number 4 is repeat. I have this thing with my platform now that I'm teaching students that success is scheduled. You have to be intentional. You have to be diligent, and you have to be dynamic. You can't just sit there and, oh, that's it. Well, I did this great thing. We built it and they would come. No, building it and they will come never worked. It didn't even work for the ark. So that was your first clue. You know, whoever had that little thing in business about just build it, just do everything, build the course, build all of it, then you advertise. That's nonsense. Build it and then they will come never worked. You have to be strategic. You have to be the visionary and see things. You have to know the assignment, and then you have to act. And then you have to repeat. Success is scheduled. Motion is required. Activity. You can't do it once and have greatness and then expect you're going to just maintain it by doing absolutely nothing. Remember the one-hit wonders? Actually, truthfully, you don't. Because it might be one or two that if I said something to come up in your mind, but most of the time, there's so many artists out there that if I played that song for you right now, you'd be moving in your seat. But if I don't say anything about them, you forget. We moved on. We moved on to the next thing. We moved on to who is visible. We moved on to those that are out in the forefront. God never created anybody that will be a one-hit wonder. Now, he may transition you to do something else. He may enlarge your territory. So you're not always doing the same thing. But God doesn't create one-hit wonders. That's not effective. He doesn't need a one-hit wonder. He needs you to fulfill the purpose he gave you and be intentional and strategic. So let me tie this all together. I want to use our last minutes together to share my own personal testimony. And it is this. Now, most people that know me know, okay, she's a publisher, she's an author, she's an editor, including for an international magazine. And they assume that's why I'm passionate about books and helping people to actually publish and write their books and share their messages. But nothing could be further from the truth. Has nothing to do with all of that. The reason I'm passionate about my profession is because it's God's purpose for my life, one, and because he used books to save my life. Now, I told you earlier that I'm a childhood abuse survivor. And for me, the library, that was my solace. Books were my escape. At age 4, I taught myself how to read. And back then, I'm not old, but back then we didn't have Hooked on Phonics. There were all these programs to teach your little 2-year-old to read a book. So if you were age 4 and had taught yourself to read, that was like a miracle in itself. And if you believe it or not, because of my abusive situation, I actually thought I was stupid because my abuser told me I was stupid. My mother had a bachelor's degree in early childhood education. My mother graduated high school, 7th of her class. I got my intelligence and my smarts from her. But because in the formative years I was told I was stupid, I believed it. But my mother was very insistent that I was a part of every reading program that our local library had to offer. And here's what was wonderful. The library was a 1-minute walk from my house. So I was always there. And I remember going up there and I was having this stack of books that was taller than I was. And I had all of these things. I was about 5 or 6 years old. And I remember the woman asked my mother, or she said, she doesn't really know what she's reading, does she? And my mother said, yes, she does. And of course, I understood. You know, you're 5 or 6 and you got Stephen King and Nancy Drew and Roots. I mean, I couldn't possibly know what I was reading, but I did. And reading was so important because 2 of the people I read about, Maya Angelou, I'll never forget reading I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And then there was Oprah Winfrey, and I wound up reading information about her life story. Now, in my time, Oprah Winfrey, there was nobody like her. You had Phil Donahue, you had Sally Jesse Raphael, you had all of these people that were killing it in the game of daytime talk shows. And then we had Oprah. And Oprah wasn't number 1, but Oprah kept at it. And pretty soon you saw they went away and she was still standing. And I read and found out that Maya Angelou and Oprah had these terrible childhood abuse, just terrible things that happened. And I reasoned, you know, if they could be successful and they had stories that were much worse than mine, then maybe I could too. And you know, on those nights, and this is where it's very important to share with you, on those nights where I was contemplating suicide, you imagine a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, 7, 8, going all the way up to when my abuser died when I was age 17. Nobody wants to die. They just don't see a way out. So I was sitting there and contemplating suicide. I begged God to just give me the courage, give me enough strength to kill myself. And I rationed different things I would do, but I just couldn't do it. And he would bring back those survivor testimonies I read. And I would say, okay, God, not tonight. I'm going to hang on tonight. I can't promise you tomorrow, but I'm hanging on tonight. And I would go in my mind about that survivor that he brought me. And you know what? Night after night after night after night. And 41 years later, I'm here today. 41 years later, he's blessed me. And one of the things he kept telling me, you will live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. That's why I'm here. So later on, I'm not even going to give you the whole channel of that. You can go read my book or read my books. But I decided that I was on a mission. And it's the mission of Alesha Brown, LLC, which the publishing company is a division of. We're going to reverse the damage of abuse by encouraging survivors to write and publish their stories and pay it forward and create a circle of healing. And that's what I live to do every day. Because I know that your message in the right hands has a trajectory not only to save their life, not only to transform them life, rather, but it can save them. Sometimes people just need one thing, one word, one message, one phrase to pull them up off the ledge. Because until you come down off that ledge, I can't do anything. Until you decide not to take your life, I can't save or change you or transform you. I just need to get you off the ledge. I wrote my first book for people that were there to get them off the ledge. Because when we get you off the ledge, we can give you options. Until you come down off that ledge, there's nothing we can do. So that's who I am. And that's why I encourage you today. The deck of hands in life you were dealt will never determine your success. But you have full control on how you play the hand to win and succeed. And if you remember nothing else, you were born to win. You were never born to fail. So if that is a fact that's unchangeable, let's start winning. Now, what I want to do is two things. I want to invite you to connect with me. So you can go to thejoyguru.net. Has all my links to everything I do. Matter of fact, on all social media, I am at The Joy Guru, except for Facebook, which I am Alesha Brown, The Joy Guru. But if you go to thejoyguru.net, you can connect with me and get all the links. Number two, I want you to stay tuned. And this is a special announcement that I want to share. I am one of the co-authors in the upcoming Spring 2021 Soul Affirmations book anthology. So I will share 5 affirmations in that book that saved and changed my life. And trust me, you're going to want to know more about that project. And when you can get your hands on the book, you're going to want to hear from those other dynamic co-authors I'm joined with. This is a book, as all of Cheryl Polite Williamson's books are, that you're going to need. 2021, we've already survived certain things in 2020. There are things we need to do right now for a powerful fourth quarter to end 2020 better than we started. And then we need to take that spirit all into 2021. So you're going to want the Soul Affirmations book that's launching spring 2021. You're going to want those 5 affirmations I have. And you're going to want to know those other co-authors that are writing this. So again, that's my time. Alesha Brown, the Joy Guru. Connect with me. Stay connected to this platform. But I pray for you nothing but eternal joy, and may the blessings of God overtake you. From Alesha Brown, the Joy Guru. Bye-bye for now.